why did he need a black director? Could a white director not have?
It's not color, it's culture.
Is that your first King?
That was my first King that I remember.
What did you guys talk about?
It was just small talk.
Yeah,
quick
nothing.
handshake.
Yeah. Did you think about what you were going to say beforehand?
No.
No. What a job for him, though. He has to go through and say something that everyone's going to remember what he said.
He said he loved all my movies.
Oh, he did? All of them?
Yeah, that's what he said, all of them. Don't get me in trouble with the King. Don't get me in trouble with
Yeah, you could be beheaded.
Yeah,
you don't want any trouble there.
Have you been an activist for a while?
I've never been an activist.
No.
I'm active. I mean, what is the definition of an activist?
I think you're always conscious that it's a response to things that are unjust.
I'm solution-based, not problem-stuck.
Okay.
So I'm like, well, what are we gonna do about it?
Agreed.
You know, and I stay in my lane. So for that reason, I am proud of a film like Rome in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as in my where I am in life now, I'm in service, and I'm trying to be an advocate for good and change and thought, deed, and action.
It was something I read where you talked about your people from Mount Vernon saying that, you know, like they've done like 40 years in the penitentiary together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and, you know, incarceration rates in America has been a problem, especially as opposed to minorities. And Roman delves into the issues around the legal system. Do you think we've made any headway in the
I
legal
think it's more important to make headway in our own house. By the time the system comes into play, the damage is done. They're not locking up 7-year-olds.
On a buzz about this fake news. You were the subject of a fake news story.
Oh yeah, what they say? I was running for president. No, I voted. No, what they say?
You switched your support.
I switched.
from
Yeah.
What do you make of all the fake news? Did it affect
If you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed. If you do read it, you're misinformed.
So what do you do?
That's the great question. What is the long-term effect of too much information? One of the effects is the need to be first, not even to be true anymore. So what a responsibility you all have to tell the truth, not just to be first, but to tell the truth. We live in a society now where it's just first. Who cares? Get it out there. We don't care who it hurts. We don't care who we destroy. We don't care if it's true. Just say it, sell it. Anything you practice, you'll get good at, including BS.
I want to just ask you, though, about the issue of race relations, because the film touches upon that. Right now, under President Obama, over the last 8 years, in your mind, have race relations improved under his leadership?
Race relationships have to do with race relationships. You're white or whatever you are, I'm black or whatever I am. We're standing here talking now. That's how we get things done. You can't legislate love. The President of the United States can't legislate us into liking each other. We have to step forward and ask questions about each other and engage. There's no law that says, oh, because I'm president, you all got to get along now. So it's up to us.
Anybody's life, it's in a way, he personifies the Black American experience. He's somebody who, had he not faced the racial discrimination, he could have been a great athlete, a star. But because of that, he ended up a garbage collector. And perhaps this self-destructiveness, was it caused by racial discrimination? And is that the effect of racial discrimination on people?
Here's the thing you got to remember. When you talk about racial and you talk about discrimination, maybe, what if he just wasn't good enough? See, it's so easy to just say, oh, it's because of this. It's because of racism. Oh, I didn't get the job because of that. Maybe you weren't good enough. Maybe, like his wife says, you were just too old. She says, why don't you just admit it? You were too old. He's the one that's hung up on,
Don't you think it is the problem is the racial discrimination?
The right word is not is, was.
Was.
And that's not the only problem. That's one of the problems. Now, you can make it the only one if you'd like, but it's not the only one. But that's a fact. That's a fact. They couldn't play basketball in the NBA. Well, their grandfathers couldn't walk on the sidewalk, or they were slaves. So Each generation is trying to do better for the next generation.
Said was. You mean, is it better now? An African American doesn't face these obstacles?
We're sitting in the Four Seasons talking about a movie. We wouldn't be doing this in 1957 unless my name was Poitier. There was only one person then. But yeah, so things are better, no question.
Well, these sort of gangs that you're involved with, that sort of thing, neighborhood gangs.
Well, I grew up in New York, you know, and I grew up with a pretty rough crowd. Most of my friends from that time are dead or in prison, and for whatever reason, I guess because my mother had good sense to get me out of it, you know, I was exposed to other things and sent away to well, I guess you call them here public schools, right?
Sure.
We call them private schools.
Sure, exactly.
But, so she sent me away to school where all the alcoholics and drug addicts really were. Little did she know.
Well, back here.
Okay, I see you.
What do you think about the huge fence our president wants to build with the Hispanic world? And how many fences did you have to go through to win this award?
What?
Sorry.
What'd she say?
Okay.
How do I feel about the fence he's about to build?
Yeah.
And,
How many?
you know, I think, this is what I think. I think we as Americans better learn to unite. I think we as Americans need to put our elected officials' feet to the fire and demand that they work together, or they won't get back in office.
You hear often that black actors, black movies don't play well overseas. Is that the truth, or is that an excuse?
I've heard everything. And what I hear keeps changing. Because they used to say it didn't sell over here. Then it does. Then it said it doesn't sell in the South. Then it does. Well, it doesn't sell in Europe. Then it does. So I just keep pushing. Well, what an opportunity I have to prove them wrong.
Talk about Hollywood. Do you think those stereotypes, and this is actually Obama pointed out, the stereotypes that had been presented about African Americans in the movies have affected the society's treatment of African Americans?
I'm sure, yeah. Yeah.
And do you feel now things have changed? And
Things have been changing. It didn't start this week. I've been in this business 40 years. In the 40 years, things have changed a lot. Things are continually changing for the better.
But when you look now at what's going on outside in the political sphere, and you see the emergence of white supremacists and racists.
You see the emergence. It didn't emerge this year.
Yeah, but I mean, what I'm saying is we are regressing in some way.
Right.
Those guys, we thought we eliminated them,
Well, you can't
and suddenly they are
you
back.
understand this. You can't legislate love. You heard what I just said? You can't legislate love. You can change laws, but you can't legislate people into loving you. That takes time, and it depends upon what's going on in their home. You can change the law, but if you go home and teach your son how to hate every day, doesn't matter what law has been changed. Until you teach your son how to love, then the law is not going to change the way your son feels. That's exactly what happens in our film. Good.
Yeah. So what is Hollywood's role in changing that, in ameliorating?
You know,
the
you
system?
say Hollywood. There's no place called Hollywood.
You are part of Hollywood.
I'm
You're
a part of the
system
human
now.
race. I'm not a part of any system. I'm a human being.
And I may be wrong. I get the feeling that not necessarily in terms of party politics or good, but you're quite a political person, quite a connected person, quite an involved person.
Well, you know, I'm for trying to make things better. I mean, I look at it like this. You know, I even say it in the movie. You never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. You know, you can't take it with you.
Yeah.
And be it money, talent, patience, love, whatever your gift is, you can't take it with you. So what are you going to do with it when you're here? Who have you lifted up? Who have you made better? Who have you helped out? Not how much do you have, but what you have. Some people have love, some have patience, some have money, some have fame. Whatever your talent is, we all have something. Help your fellow man. I mean, that's the way I look at it. At the end of the day, none of us are perfect. You know, none of us are angels, but you do the best you can with what you have.
Your roles. But one part of this role, of course, you didn't have to renounce, and that's the alcoholic part of it, because at one point in your life, you were in danger of becoming an alcoholic, weren't you?
Me? Right now, as we speak.
When you were younger?
When I was younger, well, I guess we all were in danger. We didn't know it, but...
But I mean, in your case, I mean, you were a young man when you went off the rails.
No, I didn't go that far off the rails. Somebody told you I did.
No, that was in all the research, in all the articles written about it.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Ah, I better read them.
Father left home.
Yeah.
When your parents were divorced.
Right.
That in fact that then you started going out drinking, mixing with the wrong mob.
Well, I was mixing with the wrong mob before they got divorced. But no, I guess it had more to do, not so much drinking, but just being angry about it, lashing out, getting
angry
into
about
more
the divorce.
fights. Yeah, getting to fights and stuff like that. Just a young kid, I guess, not understanding what's going on and, just taking it out on whoever's close by.
So why did he need a black director? Could a white director not have?
It's not
produced this
color,
work?
it's culture.
Explain the difference, because I think we're in a
Steven
space
Spielberg
right
did Schindler's List.
now. Mhm.
Martin Scorsese did Goodfellas, right? Steven Spielberg could direct Goodfellas. Martin Scorsese probably could have done a good job with Schindler's List. But there are cultural differences. I know, you know, we all know what it is when a hot comb hits your hair on a Sunday morning, what it smells like.
Huh?
That's a cultural difference, not just a color difference.
Right.
So it's the culture.
Happening at a time when the Oscars are being criticized for lack of diversity. I'm just wondering, what do you think about that?
I don't have to think about it. I've lived it. I've been the guy at the Oscars without my name being called. I've been the guy at the Oscars when my name is called. I've been the guy at the Oscars when everybody thought they was going to call my name and they didn't. So I've lived it.
So what would you say to the people who are looking at this process and saying it's unfair?
Yeah, and so what? You going to give up? If you're looking for an excuse, you'll find one.
In race.
You can find it wherever you like. You can't live like that. You just do the best you can do.
What was the question?
Well, that was a question. Who you wound up supporting in the election, presidential election?
None of your business.
None of my business.
None of your business.
Well, I'm only asking because the story was online, but that's okay.